What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about OnyxCoin today, XCN USD. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. It is the 28th day of September, and here we are with about 9 hours and 50 minutes left in the day. Sitting here at about 1.06 cents, just below there. We are down about 10.4% on the week so far, and that's a little bit above average for the rest for the average cryptocurrency, but that's okay. We are expecting lower prices to come in line here. I'd very much expect that we do hold a higher low than what we had back here in April. I would expect that we go a little bit lower than what we have here, though. If we're looking at this from an overall low to the high from April 11th there, we are just above the 786, just above the 886. I think something in this area is to be expected. You know, using this chart versus the Coinbase chart, if we're looking at this on the crypto chart or the Coinbase chart, these readings are a little different. Coinbase, back here, you actually do interact with this line. It's like you'd be finding support directly at the base of this area, where here it looks like you're going just a little bit below. But tomato, whatever, there's still significance here as well that would line up with finding support right here. I doubt that we hold support at the 786 personally. I doubt that we hold 0.0099 as support. I would think we probably do go closer to 0.087, but time will tell. We'll see. I'm going to delete this fib. I want to see if there's other fibs that line up with that. Just see if we can come up with anything else. Of course, we can take the overall high to the low here. 0.069 right there, lining up directly with that level. Hey, perfect. So that's a little bit of congruence there. If we're looking at this from, I don't know, would I take this low to high? There's not really anything that lines up there, so we won't do that. What about maybe this low to high? Maybe the overall low. Right there at the 382. Hey, that's nice. A couple of things lining up there. Right, prior areas of support back there. What about the high to low? Not really anything lining up there. One would think that from the golden ratio, though, you could go to the 1414. So even if we go below this level here at 0.0087, even if we go below that a little bit, I think that's fine. There's still reasons to find support down there. I'm not expecting that we go below this personally. I would like it if we held this weekly closing low as support, if not higher prices. Okay. Something else that I was looking at is this idea of an ABC correction. Where is it? Elliott correction, ABC. ABCs typically are very, very symmetrical. So the C leg is just as long as the A leg. I don't know how symmetrical that looks to you guys, but it's supposed to be symmetrical. What I mean by that is if this is the A leg down, A here, B here, C here, the C leg should be more or less as big as the A leg, which would give us a price target, it looks like, right in the middle here. Let's put it right there. Right in the middle of this range, right at 0.0092. So between 0.0092, 0.0093, that might be a completely acceptable area to expect to find support, right? We could go just a little bit lower. And I do remember talking about this a month or two ago. I know that we talked about this here, somewhere in this range, somewhere in this range as well. We talked about the idea of it both times, but we wrote it off. I said no, it's probably not going to happen because I didn't imagine that OnyxCoin would actually go below 1 cent. But here we are, imagining, and it's looking like we actually could go complete this ABC correction. Maybe here I was more under that impression, but here, I wasn't thinking so at all. You know, we identified the possibility of this, but I didn't think that we'd be moving down for this long. And it's fine that we're moving down. And that's actually what I'm trying to get to right here is that this correction, this ABC correction that I'm talking about, it's a very common and healthy correction. It's a very, very common thing to do. Overall, we are doing a very, very healthy phase of consolidation here, right, at the top of this massive move. Maybe not the exact top, but at a good bit of this massive move, right? At the halfway point and above, we're still consolidating. And you can see that the consolidation is actually tapering off a little bit, right? Very intense at first. Here, it's less intense. It's just slower and longer drawn out. But I do believe that the longer that we consolidate, the more, what's the word I want to use? The more eruptive, the more explosive this movement's going to be whenever we do move higher. We're finding support here at the areas that we found support before. We're finding support here at the areas that we found support before here. And we even found a little turbulence here as well. We look at this on the daily time frame. I'll have to zoom out a little bit. But back here, we had a couple of instances where we dropped like 40% twice over like a 3-day period. And at the areas that we found our support, where we found our lows, that's effectively where we're assuming to find our lows here, right? We've got the top line from the 786, the bottom line from the 886, and then this middle line here is the ABC corrective measure move right there. Okay, so something in this area where we found support before, where we found turbulence before, where our designated fibs are and our measure moves are, it just makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of things lining up in this area that's where we're going to go. If we look at this on the short-term perspective now, getting into the 1 hour time frames and zooming out from there. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. We do have lower highs and lower lows in the RSI. You had an uptrend. You tried to establish another one here, but you're turning it into a downtrend. I think that we have lower to go over the coming hours, so that might imply that the week does not close with a bang. We probably come down a little bit. Stochastics finding resistance here, looking like you want to go down as well. And then the MACD is crossing the 0. I mean, we're not going to wait too much on that, but I would think that means we're going lower as well. 4 hour time frame here. RSI is rejecting the 50. Stochastics are rejecting the overbought zone, looking like you want to come lower as well. And the MACD is bearish overall on the 4 hour time frame. Don't be surprised and don't get psyched out if we do make a move up to about 1.16 cents, 1.2 cents. Even if we see something that's above this wicking high here, don't get too excited. XCN, as we know, likes to give us these fake pumps. Might be a good time to sell if you're looking to make a short-term trade, but I wouldn't sell any, I wouldn't sell my stack or anything like that at these levels. Just if you wanted to buy some here, hope that you get a miracle pump and then that you're paying attention enough to sell at that level. Maybe you just have some sell orders set up at these areas just in case, I don't know. But I definitely wouldn't be messing with my stack, because as much as we are heavily anticipating that we do go lower to these areas here, as much as we're anticipating that doesn't mean that it has to happen. We could absolutely see a nice pump any day now, any week now. I would expect, though, like the rest of the crypto market, like the rest of the altcoins, I would expect that OnyxCoin pumps after October 1st, once we have regulatory clarity on the taxation of digital assets, which the Senate is having a meeting on, a hearing on the 1st of October. So after that date, I would think that we have our low, and then we start to move up higher. So 1st of October, mark it on your calendars. That is where the Senate Committee on Finance, or Finance Committee, whatever it is, they meet, they have a hearing on the taxation of digital assets. If things go well, we'll probably pump. If things don't go well, we might see a little bit of a dump, but then a pump, right? Negative news, positive news, whatever it is, I would assume that it is negative news, because we're clearly moving down into it. I would assume we get the negative news, we move a little bit lower as a result, and then sometime after that we start to recover. Either next week or the week after, which again, we only have 10 hours left in this week here, 9 hours, 41 minutes left in this week here. Sometime next week or the week after, we should be seeing some life come back into crypto. I think we're just waiting for this regulatory clearance, and then we'll sing Kumbaya, and the sun will come out and all that stuff. A little bit lower to go. Daily indicators here. The RSI does look bearish overall. You're very volatile overall, but I would say bearish right now. Bouncing off the 40 twice, but you're not getting any love at all. Rejecting the overbought zone, getting oversold. You do look bearish. The stochastics look bearish, and the MACD rejecting the 0, man. That was just a huge bummer. We thought we were going to get above there and see some life, but nope. Rejected it there. Lower we go. We'll come down. We'll get a lower low. We'll have higher lows in the oscillator. Bullish divergence will form. We'll probably get some bullish divergence on these indicators as well, but we don't have it yet. And then from there, I would think, again, next week we probably find our low. The following week, we probably start to see some life. And going into the end of October, I would expect that we're at new relative highs altogether, making our way to that 26 to 32 cent target area inevitably. Some thoughts that I want to leave you guys with before we end the video is just thinking forward here, thinking about the new highs whenever they do come in, is that we do have here a very classic setup, right? We've got the ABC correction going on right here, and that might be something to think about when we go to these new areas here. When we do move up to about 26 to 32 cents, somewhere up here in this area, maybe it's the end of October, maybe it's November, maybe it's the end of December, however long it takes to get up there. I would expect by the end of the year we're up here. We might see an ABC correction there as well that lasts a couple of months. Right? I'm not expecting that this consolidation is going to be short-lived. This one took a while, this one took a while, but I do assume that this next consolidation will probably be shorter than either of these last two consolidations. It'll probably be shorter, and then we'll move up, and we'll have our cycle finale finish. I think that what we're in the process of is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-legged impulsive move. Depends on how you want to count it or how you're looking at it. I saw somebody draw it from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and if that's the case, then wave 5 will be our last leg. But no matter how you count it, there's at least some idea, some inclination that we do have more to go, right? We at least have a little bit more to go. I highly doubt that this is the end of the cycle, though. I highly doubt that that's where we're going to stop. I would expect that we do see higher targets, and after we consolidate, which again could be an ABC correction, just like this one here, ABC, we could see that. We might see the price revert back down to about 15 cents, maybe 10 cents, something like that, and it could take several months. So if we're up here by the end of October, it might be January that we find our low. If we're up here by the end of December, it might be March that we find our low. And then April, May, whenever we have our finale finish in the bull market, we should see something between about $1.02 to a $2.60 price. I don't think we get above $2.60. I would be surprised if we got to $2.60. I don't think we stop at $1.03. I wouldn't be surprised if we got there. My expectation is that we stop somewhere in between. I like this $1.70 area, probably right below $2 is where we're going to go. We're just above 1 cent now, so there's massive potential in OnyxCoin left by the end of the cycle. You do not have to sell here. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. You do not have to sell here, right? But just like you didn't have to sell here, you will have to sit through some pain. You'll have to sit through some boringness and test your faith a little bit. But I have a feeling that anybody and everybody who bought here, you're going to have a lot more faith and patience, right? The same people who've held throughout this whole time are the same people who bought here. Nobody who bought at the top is probably still holding here, right? Maybe if you bought the lows, maybe if you DCA'd, okay, you're still holding. But if you bought the top, probably not, right? The people who are holding here are people who've been DCAing or people who bought beforehand, right? The people who hold here, same thing. It's going to be people who bought beforehand and who've been DCAing. And all I'm trying to say is, even if you don't sell here, you don't play the game, that's fine, because we likely do have more to go. As far as where it's going to be, I don't know exactly, but I'm thinking $1.03 to $2.60. That's the rough area to expect, okay? I got nothing else. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. This is the chicken scratch map ahead of us, and I would expect that we top off sometime in April or May. I got nothing else. Take care of yourselves, all right? I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.